I'm gonna turn 27 years old this month. Hey y'all, it's Skylar. This is something from my shelf. Today's video is going to be a May TBR. I know what you're thinking. You don't normally do TBR videos. Really, I don't normally do videos, period. But lately, I've realized that though the quantity of books that I have been reading is large, the quality has been not so great. There's been a lot of 3 stars, and that is like a generous 3 stars for some of them. So I figure I'm better off having a game plan for my reading for that month than to just kind of go all willy-nilly and think that I can pick good books. So this TBR is inspired by Emily from Books with Emily Fox. Her April TBR, I think it was her April TBR challenge, was just filled with her 5-star predictions because her birthday is in April. And so I thought, that's a great idea. I should try to only read 5-star predictions in my birthday month. So that's what I'm doing. So this video is my TBR, and this TBR is just filled with books that I think I'm going to give 5 stars to in order to have the best reading month possible. Without further ado, let's get started. So the first book on my TBR for May is going to be Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore. This is a historical romance set in 1879 England, and it follows our main character, who is the first female or one of the first female students at Oxford, and she has a scholarship to Oxford, but a condition of her scholarship is that she has to rally support for the women's suffrage movement. And I think she tries to get the support of a notorious duke who is powerful in politics, and this is kind of the story of. It's a historical romance, folks. I don't know really what to tell you. Historical romance is my jam. I know that I'm going to love this. I actually read the first chapter a couple months ago. I thought the first chapter was funny. I thought the writing was really good. It just wasn't the time then for me to read it. But now, I feel like it's the time. And I'm excited because historical romances always make me smile. The next book on my May TBR that I think I'm going to give 5 stars to is The Beautiful and the Damned by F. Scott Fitzgerald. So the very first book that I read in 2020 was The Side of Paradise by Fitzgerald, and that was for my reading books from 1920s in 2020 challenge that I'm doing. So I'm reading books that were published in 1920. Not books that are just generally from the 20s. This is generally from the 20s. I think this was published in 21 or 22. This was right after The Side of Paradise, and I just love Fitzgerald's writing. What I really enjoy is how his format changes throughout his stories. So from the different ways he writes dialogue, to how you'll be reading it just as if it was a normal story, to then all of a sudden you're reading letters because the characters are traveling, or then it all of a sudden switches to like a play format. I love that. I find it fascinating. I find the reading experience with all those different formats really fascinating, so I cannot wait to start this. I actually know nothing about The Beautiful and the Damned. I just know it's another Fitzgerald novel, and it's one of the ones that I had on my shelf. The next book on my May TBR is different for me, and that is Pet Sematary by Stephen King. I don't really like scary stuff. Let's just throw that out there. I am not the girl you take to a horror film unless you're fine with somebody just screaming and jumping every 5 seconds. I don't even like horror film trailers. You know, if they pop on the TV, I'd mute the TV, I get out of the room, I walk and do something else. Like, I really don't like scary things. I'm the girl that, I don't even scream at haunted houses anymore, I just walk through them and cry. I'm just walking and silently crying the whole time. It's as pathetic as it sounds, yes. That said, horror is one of those genres that I've been wanting to get into, and I actually dipped my toes into it last summer and was surprised by how much I enjoyed the story. I feel like Stephen King is just the ultimate when it comes to horror novels. I have seen Pet Sematary the movie, not the new one, the one from the 80s. Scarred me for life back when I was in middle school. I was terrified of my cats, so didn't let them sleep in my room for months. I mean, it was bad. So I'm excited to jump into this. I really love stories that focus on grief and kind of dissect human reaction to grief and how a human processes grief. So I think that element of the story is something that I'm really going to enjoy. Additionally, you know, as much as I say I really don't like horror, I like to be scared a little bit, you know? Just a little taste, little teeny tiny taste. Well, you know, I really think I'm gonna give this 5 stars. I really think I'm gonna enjoy Stephen King's writing. I just also really think I'm not gonna sleep at all. And I will definitely only be reading this book in the daylight hours. Don't even come at me and try to get me to read it at night. That is not happening. I don't hate myself, okay? Speaking of scary books, the next author on my TBR list is actually someone that I've already read. And they're the book that I read last summer. And so now I'm excited to read their latest book, and that is The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. So yes, I read my best friend's Exorcism last summer, and I was so shocked by how much I enjoyed it. Yes, there were moments and circumstances that occurred while reading that freaked me out just a little bit. I do live in the woods. Parts of that book were set in the woods. It was a dark, stormy night. It was a dark, stormy night in the book. Like, you know, little things like that really tipped me over the edge. But I enjoyed the writing so much. I loved the characters. I loved the friendship between the 2 girls. So I really think I'm gonna enjoy this. I have already kind of, sort of tasted it just a bit. I read the author's note, which I know what you're thinking, that's a weird thing to start with reading, but it's in the front. And it was actually, the author's note was the most interesting author's note I've ever read, of the few that I've actually taken the time to read. I loved it. I was hooked from the author's note, and then I read the prologue. Hooked from the prologue as well. I think this is going to be a wild ride. I think there will still be moments that terrify me. I think I still, again, will try to not read this one at night. So the next book on my May TBR is a book that I think some people might roll their eyes at, but others will be supportive of, and that is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. It's her first book in the new Crescent City series by her. It's her first foray into adult urban fantasy. Did I get that right? Who knows? It's definitely a romance still, from what people have said. I really don't know what goes on in this book, but I think the main character is half fae. I know the love interest is a fallen angel. It's kind of all I know. Let me tell you, I don't need a lot going into Sarah J. Maas books. I don't really need to know the details. This is like 600 and something pages, yeah? 799 pages? No! Wow, it doesn't look like that. Are these pages really tiny? Wow, okay. All right, Miss Maas, you go, girl. I think this will go by very quickly. If I remember how quickly I read A Court of Wings and Ruin, which I think the page count is like 680 something, I feel like this will go by very quickly. It's just compulsively readable, guys. It's addicting. So now we're on to the last book on my May TBR, books that I predict I'll give 5 stars to. And I'm gonna be honest. I think I'm gonna give this book 5 stars. I could almost give it 5 stars before I even read it. But I also think this book is going to break me emotionally. And that is Iron Gold by Pierce Brown. It has been a journey for me reading the Red Rising saga. A saga of my own, if you will. And I just love these characters so frickin' much. As of today, right now, April 30th is when I'm filming this, I have 30% left of Morningstar. So I haven't finished Morningstar yet. I will either be finishing it today, the 30th, or tomorrow, May 1st. And then I'm gonna immediately, I feel, go into Iron Gold, despite the fact that I don't know if I'll be emotionally ready for that, but I feel like I have to. Now I'm just dying to know. I don't want anybody, the longer I wait, I feel like the more likely somebody will spoil Iron Gold or Dark Age for me, and I think I've already mentioned before that somebody did spoil the end of Golden Sun for me. So I knew what was in the box before I even read the book, and that kind of ruined a little bit my reading experience, and it actually made me reluctant to read the book. I think that's why I gave it 4.5 stars rather than a full 5 star like I gave Red Rising. Like I said, I have only 30% left of Morningstar. Thus far, it's looking to be a 5-star read for me, even though it made me cry twice. I just feel like Iron Gold will make me cry and hurt my feelings, but then put me back together. I hope. I don't know. I love these characters so much, guys. I love the world that Pierce Brown has built. Severo is literally my heart. Like, as much as I love Darrow, if Pierce Brown ever kills Darrow, I'll be fine. But if Pierce Brown kills Severo, I don't think I'll survive that. I'll just cry in my room for days on end. Anyway, I'm so excited to finally be getting to this book. It's a long time coming, and I think I'll give it 5 stars. So that is going to be it for my May TBR. These are all the books that are my 5-star predictions for my birthday month and that I think I'm just going to devour and love. Let me know in the comments down below what is on your May TBR and if you have read any of the books that are on my TBR and what you rated them. My social media links are going to be down below. I'm most active on Instagram, so go over there and say hi to me. I'll be sure to follow and we can chat about books. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and until next time, bye!